We often find ourselves caught in the web of control, forever striving to shape life into what we want it to be. From the smallest decisions to the grandest goals, we create mental blueprints, thinking that we can craft a reality that fits our desires, expectations, and plans. Yet in this constant pursuit of mastery over our circumstances, we may overlook one simple but profound truth. Life is not something we can tame or command. It is a flowing, ever-changing current that moves through us and around us, with or without our consent. Consider this for a moment. What if everything we struggle to hold on to, our ambitions, our fears, our need for certainty, are not the things that will bring us peace? What if the very act of letting go, of surrendering to the natural flow of life, is where we will discover the greatest freedom? Imagine for a moment that instead of pushing against the flow of life, we allow ourselves to move with it. What would it feel like to release the need to control every outcome? What if we allowed life to unfold on its own terms, trusting that we will be carried along in the way we need to go? This is the essence of letting go, the understanding that by relinquishing control, we open ourselves to the natural rhythm of existence. When we let go, we are not surrendering to chaos or randomness. Instead, we are embracing the inevitable flow that exists within and around us, trusting that life, in its mysterious unfolding, is bringing us exactly where we need to be. This doesn't mean that we stop caring or stop taking action. Rather, it means that we stop clutching with fear and anxiety, believing that every little decision must be perfect for us to reach our destination. When we release this tight grip, we allow ourselves the freedom to engage with life more authentically. Letting go creates space for creativity, spontaneity, and unexpected opportunities to emerge. It frees us from the constant worry of whether we're doing things the right way or whether we're on the right path. Furthermore, letting go acknowledges the fundamental truth that change is inevitable, and trying to hold on to things that are slipping away only causes suffering. People, circumstances, and moments are always in flux. Holding on to the past, to old relationships, or to rigid ideas of how things should be only leaves us feeling stuck. When we let go, we become more adaptable, more capable of navigating the natural rhythms of life with ease. We can let go of old patterns, outdated beliefs, and unnecessary attachments that no longer serve us, allowing us to move forward with greater clarity and purpose. Life is not a static force, and it is certainly not something we can bend to our will. It is a continuous, ever-changing flow, a current that sweeps us along, whether we resist or not. Our attempts to control life are like trying to hold the ocean in our hands. No matter how hard we try, the water will slip through our fingers. The moment we realize that life is not something we can control, we begin to understand the deeper truth of our existence. We are not separate from life. We are part of it. We are not the masters of it. We are participants in it. This flow is not something to be feared. It is the very fabric of life, the rhythm that carries us through each day. We are constantly being shaped by this current, whether we are conscious of it or not. The seasons change, time passes, people come and go, and we are all swept along by the inevitable flow of existence. Every moment is a movement, a part of this great unfolding. Trying to control life is like trying to hold back the tide. It is futile and exhausting. Instead of struggling to master the flow, we can choose to align ourselves with it. When we let go of the need to control, we can flow with the current, allowing it to guide us toward new experiences, new lessons, and new understandings. The flow of life is not chaotic or random. It is filled with patterns, rhythms, and cycles that are far beyond our comprehension. When we stop trying to impose our will on it, we begin to notice these patterns, to see the way things fall into place naturally without our interference. Life, in its essence, is harmonious and self-organizing. When we align ourselves with this flow, we are not passive bystanders, but active participants in the unfolding of the universe. We become attuned to the subtle rhythms of life, learning when to move, when to pause, and when to let go. The flow of life is not something to be controlled, it is something to be embraced. When we accept that we are part of this movement, we free ourselves from the burdens of resistance and struggle. We begin to experience life in its fullness, with all its unexpected beauty and wonder. The more we let go of our need to control, the more we open ourselves to the infinite possibilities that the flow of life offers. Resistance is an instinctual response to the uncertainties of life. We resist change, we resist discomfort, and we resist anything that challenges our sense of control or stability. But what we fail to realize in our attempts to control and force outcomes is that resistance itself is the source of much of our suffering. Life, by its very nature, is fluid and unpredictable. The more we try to push against it, the more we create friction, tension, and anxiety. This constant battle between what we desire and what life presents is a struggle that leads us away from peace and contentment. When we resist, we are not only fighting the circumstances around us, but we are also fighting ourselves. We create an internal conflict that only deepens our frustration and dissatisfaction. Imagine trying to swim against a strong current. The harder you fight, the more exhausted you become and the less progress you make. In the same way, when we resist the natural flow of life, we exhaust ourselves emotionally and mentally. We become trapped in a cycle of frustration, unable to move forward or find resolution. On the other hand, when we stop resisting, we allow ourselves to move with the current, not against it. This doesn't mean that we give up on our goals or allow ourselves to be passive, but rather it means we stop fighting against what is. We stop demanding that life be a certain way, and instead we open ourselves to the possibility of new experiences, new perspectives, and new opportunities. When we cease resistance, we stop creating unnecessary tension within ourselves, and we can begin to engage with life as it truly is. Unpredictable, sometimes chaotic, but ultimately full of potential and growth. And by letting go of resistance, we free ourselves from the pressure of trying to control every aspect of our lives. We stop seeing challenges and obstacles as threats, and instead we see them as invitations to learn and evolve. We learn to accept the ebb and flow of life, to embrace the uncertainty with grace, and to trust that each moment, no matter how difficult, has something valuable to teach us. When we stop resisting, we begin to experience life more fully, with less internal conflict and greater peace. Trust is the cornerstone of letting go. It is the belief that the universe, or the natural flow of life, is moving in a direction that is ultimately beneficial for us, even if we cannot always see it or understand it in the moment. Trusting the flow of life means surrendering the need to control every detail and allowing the unfolding of events without clinging to the need for a specific outcome. It is about recognizing that life has its own intelligence, its own rhythm, and that sometimes our role is simply to flow with it, rather than trying to force it to fit our expectations. When we trust the flow of life, we are no longer bogged down by the need to predict or manipulate every future moment. We stop living in constant anxiety about what might happen, and instead we cultivate a sense of ease and acceptance. Trust allows us to release the fear of the unknown, the fear of uncertainty, and the fear of failure. It enables us to step into the present moment with openness and curiosity, knowing that even if things do not go as we planned, There is wisdom to be found in every experience. Trust is not a passive resignation, nor is it blind faith. It is the active recognition that we cannot control everything, but we can trust that the natural flow of life will bring us what we need. It is understanding that every experience, every challenge, and every setback is part of the larger tapestry of our journey, and that everything we encounter along the way has something valuable to offer. Of life means acknowledging that we are not alone in this journey, that we are supported by forces greater than ourselves, whether that be nature, the universe, or the collective wisdom of the human experience. When we trust the flow, we move with grace, we release our fears, and we open ourselves to the unexpected beauty that life has to offer. We let go of the need to control, not because we are giving up, but because we understand that true freedom comes from surrendering to what is. In this surrender, we find peace, clarity, and the courage to face whatever comes our way with the confidence that we are exactly where we need to be. To fully experience life, we must be willing to embrace it in all of its complexities. Life is not meant to be simplified or neatly packaged into what we expect it to be. It is a vast, intricate web of experiences, each one unique and valuable in its own right. When we let go of the desire to control every aspect of our existence, we open ourselves to the richness that life offers in all of its forms. There is beauty in the messiness, the unpredictability, and the chaos of life. And it is only by embracing these aspects that we can truly appreciate the fullness of our experience. Life's complexity is what makes it so remarkable. We are constantly moving between light and dark, joy and sorrow, success and failure, and yet it is these contrasts that give life meaning. If we only sought out the easy, the comfortable, and the predictable, we would miss out on the deeper lessons that can only be found in the challenges and uncertainties. By embracing the full spectrum of experiences, we allow ourselves to grow, to expand, and to become more fully alive. Every twist, every turn, every detour along the way is part of the journey that shapes who we are. Letting go of our need for simplicity or predictability opens us to the richness of life's unfolding. We stop trying to fit ourselves into rigid molds and instead allow ourselves to be shaped by life's natural flow. We become more flexible, more resilient, and more capable of navigating the ebb and flow of existence. Life, in all its complexity, becomes less of a burden and more of a dance, a dynamic interplay of forces that we are a part of, rather than something we must fight against or control. When we embrace life in all its complexity, we also become more present in the moment. Instead of being distracted by future worries or past regrets, we learn to engage fully with what is happening right now. We no longer need to have all the answers or understand every detail. Instead, we learn to trust that life will reveal itself in its own time and in its own way. Each moment, no matter how complex or challenging, has something to offer us. And by embracing it, we allow ourselves to grow and evolve in ways we never imagined. Life's flow is not a linear path, nor is it a simple destination to be reached. It is a dynamic, evolving process that constantly invites us to grow, change, and discover who we are at each step. To embrace the flow of life is to accept that we are always in the process of becoming. We are never fully finished, and neither is the world around us. This continuous unfolding is not something to fear, it is something to embrace. Each moment offers us a new opportunity to learn, adapt, and transform. In letting go of fixed ideas about who we are or who we should be, we allow ourselves the freedom to explore the infinite possibilities of who we could become. The flow of life is not always predictable, and it is rarely straightforward. Sometimes it leads us down unexpected paths, introduces us to new challenges, or forces us to confront parts of ourselves we would rather avoid. But it is in these moments of uncertainty and discomfort that the most profound growth occurs. To embrace the flow of life is to accept that there will be times of turbulence, times of difficulty, and times of uncertainty. Rather than resisting these moments, we learn to approach them with curiosity and openness. We trust that even in moments of hardship, there is something valuable to be learned, something new to be discovered about ourselves and the world around us. The beauty of this journey lies in the process itself, not in the end result. Life's flow is a continuous series of experiences, each one contributing to our evolution. By releasing our attachment to specific outcomes or timelines, we free ourselves from the pressure of needing everything to be perfect or in control. We allow ourselves to be fully present, knowing that whatever is happening right now is exactly what we need. Every challenge, every success, and every quiet moment has its place in the larger picture of our lives. When we embrace the flow of life, we learn to trust the journey itself. We stop seeking constant validation or external markers of success, and instead, we find fulfillment in simply being part of the process. Each step we take, each decision we make becomes part of the larger unfolding story that we are writing. And as we learn to move with the flow of life, rather than against it, we begin to understand the deeper wisdom that lies within this continuous dance of becoming. In the end, the beauty of letting go lies not in abandoning our desires or our dreams, but in surrendering to the natural flow of life with trust and openness. By releasing our need to control, we stop fighting against the current and begin to move with it, embracing life as it is, in all its complexity and unpredictability. We learn to navigate the twists and turns with grace, finding strength in our vulnerability and wisdom in our willingness to be present with whatever comes our way. Life is not a battle to be won, but a journey to be experienced. And when we let go of our attachments, our expectations, and our fears, we open ourselves to the full richness of what it means to be alive. We allow ourselves to be shaped by the process, trusting that each step we take, whether joyful or challenging, is part of a greater unfolding. The beauty of letting go is that it frees us to be who we truly are, fully engaged in the flow of life, ever changing and ever growing.